Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. As you can see in front of me, I got Cloak and Dagger. I don't think these are like any of the newest Marvel Legends, but I just happened to pick these up as a set, and they were not that expensive, so I said, why not? From the comic books, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, number 64 is when they first got introduced. I was reading Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, but I don't happen to have that issue at all. I think I went through some of my comics, and these are the ones where like they show up on the cover. It's number 94 and 95. So this is kind of where I was sort of introduced to Cloak and Dagger. And of course they had their own comic, and I got issues 1 and 2. I liked the characters and stuff like that, but I kind of liked them better when I was when they would show up as background characters in this, and I didn't really get into this series, and I had a whole lot of other books that I was collecting at the time. Okay, recently we know that there was a series on Hulu that was Marvel's Cloak and Dagger. It was part of the Freeform network, I think. So let's take a closer look at Cloak and Dagger. Let's take a closer look at the box. So here we got Cloak, and he's got this cloak, and doesn't look like cloth, so I'm wondering how pliable it is. Of course, this comes with a Build-A-Figure, and on the side panel is a graphic of Cloak and Dagger. On the back, it's of course a picture of the figures, and they call him a hooded vigilante in the war on drugs. He uses powers of darkness. And then on the other side is basically a reverse of the same picture. If you see Dagger, she's pretty much in an identical box with exactly the same box art, except for hers says, Tandy Bowen channels her unrivaled passion of light force into signature light dagger weapons, earning herself the name Dagger. Okay, so I got 2 parts of the Build-A-Figure, which is the body and the head. And that's probably all I'm ever going to have from this, so let's just put that aside. And let's take a look at Cloak. He, of course, has his cloak on, and he's got this head covering, which is a separate piece from his actual cloak. And I'm surprised, and nicely surprised, to find out that it has like a clasp right here, like a button clasp. So this cloak comes off. And it's a very, very pliable plastic, which means he can open it up and you can actually do some different stuff with that. It's not like a hard shell. It does have some strength to it, so it does sit on its own. So let's take a closer look at the head in there. Looks really good with the eyes. If we pull this off, which should be fairly easy. Ooh. I was wrong. So you don't want to pull that off unless you want to detach it. It looks like it's glued to the head. But anyways, he does look up and he does look down without the rest of his cloak on. He sees all the way around. He's got the nice ball joint in there, but he doesn't have that extra little joint because, of course, this is an older figure. Upper arm moves. He's got the elbow that gives him about 90 degrees and the hand that moves back and forth. He's got this little clicking joint in his upper body, waist movement, upper leg movement, and he's got the double jointed knee, which gives him that flexibility, and the standard foot joint. He has about that much splits, so he's not really doing the splits, but he's got forward and backwards range of motion. Now, let's put this back on him. So kind of cool, we can set him up. He can open up his cloak a little bit, right? Get some opening in there, and it looks really nice, right? Like I think this figure looks pretty good. He's got all the same flexibility. Now, you know, he has Dark Force, and he dispatches people to the Dark Force dimension. He could use his dark energy to drive people insane, and then he teleports by entering the Dark Force dimension, moving short distances, and then emerging back on Earth at a great distance from his point of origin. So that's kind of a cool way for him to travel around. And the thing I always remembered about the pair was that Dagger could go inside the dark arena, and because she was lit up, she could basically not go insane and she could travel with him. Now, she has the ability to have light daggers or the light force. She can also feed Cloak's hunger for light. They're like the perfectly balanced couple, really. So let's take a look at the Cloak character. You can see she's got, in my opinion, the standard Marvel head sculpt for the female superhero characters, unless they're based on a movie. She doesn't have much forward or backward tilt, but that's because of the hair sculpt, but it does look really nice. She has this outfit, if you can see it here. This is the standard comic book outfit, which actually looks pretty good the way they did it. Let's move her hair a little bit out of the way. So you can see how they made it into a figure versus what it was on the comic book. And the only problem is when she if you were to pose her upper body differently, you would lose that line on the uniform, right, on the outfit, because it's supposed to be open. She does not have hip movement, but she does have like about that much splits movement. She's got good forward movement, but when you move her leg backwards, it kind of runs in and then tilts outwards. So she's not going to have that so much. She's got the double jointed knee, which gives her about that range of motion. She's got the 90-degree on the arm, and she does not have an upper movement there, just this ball movement right here. So it's fairly decent flexibility for the figure. Not as much as what the male characters were having during this time period before they switched the bodies, but I think still overall it's pretty decent. The one thing I wish that they would have done with this figure is provided an extra set of hands, because she's really got just these two hands and they're both open. And I get it because she's actually like using her abilities, but it would be nice to have a slightly different hand. And then the other thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is this little peg piece here isn't flesh colored, so it's colored the same as her shirt. So if you look at it closely, you can see that creeping up into the hand, and it just doesn't look natural. So here's her light daggers coming out. You just attach them to the arm, and she has her light daggers on like a little piece there. Here you have Cloak, have her maybe emerging from the cloak. There you go. Cloak and Dagger, everybody. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in and checking out my video about Cloak and Dagger. I hope you enjoyed it. It kind of brought back some memories of reading the Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man at that time. Starting to make me think that I might need to get the Black Cat and a good Spider-Man figure. I got another video that I'm working on right now. It's another Marvel Legends, of course. It's a Walgreens exclusive that I was able to find that I've been looking for a while. So I'm kind of excited about that. And there might be a little bit of modification involved, so or customization. So that's something to look forward to. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget, come back for more.